name is Joe Biden, and as strange as it sounds, everything important in my life that I learned here in Scranton. I'm serious. You know, some of you have friends and relatives who've moved away. Some of you have friends and family. Please, if you have a seat, sit. Don't stand in the way. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, I want to ask, they don't like this, but I want to ask my best friend in the world, my sister Valerie, and my oldest son, Beau Biden, to come on up with me here. You know, it may seem strange in any other city that when you move away when you were a child, that although you came home, I came home every summer and every holiday as long as my grandpa was alive. It seems strange to say that I'm home. But you know, our family's roots run deep here in this county, in this city. My mother, my grandmother and grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather. As a matter of fact, my great-great-grandfather was a city engineer for the city of Scranton from 1883 to 93. And he was a state senator from Scranton, one of the first Irish Catholics ever elected to the state senate in Harrisburg in 1906. For all I know, he stood on these grounds and engaged in debate or talked at 4th of July gatherings. The roots are deep. And one of the things that for all that I know, as I said, he stood here, but what I do know is that all of my brothers and sisters and all of my children and my grandchildren, they all feel like they're a part of this city. Because everything that took place at my grandfather's kitchen table, the things that I learned and valued, are the things and the stories that have been repeated over and over and over and over again in my family. My mother, who died at 93 and lived in Wilmington, Delaware for over 50 years, never ever referred to Scranton as anything than home. They'd ask my mom where she was from. She lived in Wilmington 50 years. She'd say, I'm from Scranton. I'm from Scranton. And there's a reason to say that. We learned here in Scranton, my sister and I, and passed on to our children, that friends can last for an entire lifetime. We learned here that you're limited only by your dreams and nothing else. We learned here that everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity. At my grandfather's table, my father's table, my dad used to say a job is about a lot more than a paycheck, Joey. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's how people look at you, what they think about you, and the way they treat you. We learned here that you have an obligation to look out for your neighbor, because that's what you're all about up here. This county, this city has gone through some tough times. It's had its heyday, it's come back, it's had tough times. But the remarkable thing about all of you is that, like my father, you don't measure success on whether or not a man or woman's been knocked down. You measure success on how quickly they get up. And so many people, so many sons and daughters of Scranton have been knocked down, but they've gotten back up time and time again. I look at this Veterans Memorial and think of my Uncle Ambrose, who was killed in World War II, and the stories about how he was as a kid in Scranton, and my uncles who fought in the war. I think about all those stories where you learn, where your character sort of gets etched. It gets etched like in that granite. And that's what Scranton's about to my family and me. My son never lived in Scranton, yet he's heard so many stories over the entirety of his life about the people here, about events here, about the electric city. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something special about you all. And I know, I've learned, it took me a while to learn. Home is where your character is etched. And that comes from the stories and example of the people who raised you. For me and Valerie, as I said, it all started at our grandpa's table on North Washington Avenue. And although our kids never sat at that table, they inherited the same sense of pride and the same sense of family. I'll conclude by saying that my mother used to say, and I mean this sincerely, my mother used to tell us, and my mother was sort of everybody's mother. Everybody wanted my mom as their mom. Everybody hung at our house. My mother had a lot of children beyond her blood children. And she used to say, you are defined by your courage, and you're redeemed by your loyalty. You're defined by your courage, and you're redeemed by your loyalty. So many patriots have come out of this valley. So many patriots have given their lives and continue to. So many people who serve with my son Bo in Iraq come from this valley. And we're about to celebrate the 4th of July. And I will say to you that you are the grit, the sinew, and the soul of what freedom's all about. It sounds corny, but you really are. You're a special group of people. This is a special place. This soil runs thick with pride and loyalty. And I just want to say I am genuinely, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I've gotten to speak all over the world. I've gotten to speak to audiences that range in the hundreds of thousands. But I want to tell you, I am genuinely honored that you will allow me to be here tonight and give me the kind of reception that you have. I love you. God bless you all. And may God protect our troops.